The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the February 27th, the magical Monday edition of today's Trader's Edge Show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there's having a great day. Hey, let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. Now, the easiest way to do that is to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I make that one little 2x4 shift, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to go check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I do want you to know I am absolutely grateful for your presence here. But even more important than that, and that's this. During this next 53 minutes, I'm here to serve you. So feel free to pick up that phone. Would love to hear from you at 877-927-6648. Now, if you've got a question but you can't call in, you can always send me an email. For that, you send to Steve at TFNN.com. And if you'd be so kind to put radio show question in that subject heading. Of course, if you're inside our Tiger's Den, well, then any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on magical, magnificent Monday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Right now we got a sea of green, whether it's the sectors inside the S&P 500 or the U.S. indices. Dow's up 180, about 0.5%. 0.7 for the S&P or 29. 0.9 or 1% for the NASDAQ 100. 117 points there. About 1% for the Russell, that's 17. Semis up a little over 1%, 34 points. 2% for the trannies, 293 points the upside. Gold is up $4. Silver's down 19 cents. That's about 1%. 1% for light sweet crude as well. That's trading down 82 pennies. Natural gas is up 4%. It's up 10 cents, trade out at 265. So we got plenty to look at. Of course, I want to look at what you want to look at. Let's begin by taking a look at the equity futures out here. So to do that, let's do this. Let me change over to this page. And give me a moment to change the screen. And so we'll take a look at the 4 daily equity future contract. I'm going to bounce back and forth, I believe, in doing this. We'll start with the white background charts here right now. So we take a look at the ES Mini. What you'll see, or what you should see, is prices trading below support. Support being the bottom of its bullish structure daily profile. It's been below that for 4 or 5 trading sessions, below its oscillator and change line, and there's no other levels of support out here on a daily time frame. Actually, the next level of support would have to be the swing points from back in the December time frame in about the 3,800-ish area out there. No bottoming pattern of any sort out here inside the ES Mini. So it's going to take its cues, its P's and Q's, that is, from the NQ. Why is it going to take it from the NQ? Because on the NQ, we've got clear patterns out here. Number one, we have a bullish structured profile. What price did on Friday was it tested that. It rejected that. If you can't bust them to the downside, what's Tommy like to say? It's going to bust them to the upside. Well, if that's the case, what we then should see is a close above the center of its bullish structured profile. That would be at 12,084, we'll call it. If you see a close above 12,084, we're at 12,116 now, odds favor a run all the way back up to the top of that profile, and that's in the 12,408 area. Now, there's an A to B equals CD to the downside. If, in fact, price closes above Friday's open, which is 12,190, you get a bull sash candle. You get a bullish engulfing candle as well. And that would actually confirm a Gartley buy pattern. So the NQ is the instrument that I believe is going to provide us with the most amount of information. If the NQ forms a Gartley buy pattern, well, then at least we should see that move to 12,408, and maybe it could turn into something more than that. If we take a look at while the NQ was hitting support, bottom of its daily profile, what the Dow was doing was it was trading with inside its consolidation pattern. And it's held. Is that a bottoming pattern? It can be. Couldn't bust them to the downside. It'll try to bust them the upside. Now, the first level of resistance inside the Dow equity future contract is at the 33,504-ish area. The Russell does have an A to B equals CD pattern to the downside. It has not completed that, even if today ends up being a bullish engulfing candle, which it is as of 11 a.m. It just really has not completed the A to B equals CD pattern. Nonetheless, price did close just below on Friday, the bottom of its daily profile. You're back above it right now. That says it was a false break to the downside. That's its meaning out there. So what should price do? Well, it's got resistance between 1923 and 1936. Those are the 4 daily equity future contracts. Now I'm going to switch back to the black background screens. And the reason I'm doing that is because there are some new profiles that are attempting to form. You'll want to note these levels on your pad of paper. Now, these profiles may not form. Well, Stevie, you just told me to write them down. And now you're telling me they may not form? Yes. Well, actually, there's only 2 out here. And those 2 coming from the ES Mini. Support out here is at 39.69 and resistance at 40.58. The NQ does not have a new profile, so nothing to write down there. The Dow, the YM, is also trying to form a new profile, and that's with support down at 32.806 and resistance at 33.440. Inside the Russell 2000, no new profiles to form there. So just those 2. Write those down. You know where buyers and sellers are lining up with those 2 instruments. We'll be able to confirm that for you come tomorrow. So let's say here on these black background charts, what's going on market breadth-wise? Thank you for asking that question, whoever you are. If we take a look at, I'll stay here. Here's a short-term time frame. Short-term time frame shows that on a 30-minute basis, the S&P 500, the ES Mini, has flipped back to a bearish stance, meaning 78 instruments are trading above the top of a profile with 239 below the bottom. Let's go take a look at the NQ stats for its 30-minute time frame. The NQ also moving towards let's let it finish here. Come on. Why are you taking so? Okay. So it also has moved to a bearish position, meaning that there are 10 instruments trading above the top of the 30-minute profile and 54 below. So the 30-minute says, hey, we may have some trouble in River City. And we'll take a look at the actual daily, weekly, 240 and hourly time frame, just so we get a feel for market breadth. Here's the S&P 500, the ES Mini. 60-minute is bullish. What I mean there, 203 instruments above profile, 157 below. So we should look at the 30-minute and the 50-minute charts. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. And by the way, it's bearish on the weekly and the daily and the 240. So the ES Mini, the S&P 500, really has its work cut out for it. If you're going to be shorting, I'd be shorting in the ES Mini. If you're going to be buying, I'd be buying in the NQ out there. That's just the way that I see it at this moment. If we take a look at the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ 100 is bullish for its weekly, bullish for its 240, and bullish for its 60. And it's only the daily time frame that has a bearish message. That connotation shows 24 instruments above profile, 40 below. Remember, I did say I believe we should be taking our P's and Q's from the NQ out here, and really it is bullish with the exception of the daily time frame out there. So that's what we're taking a look at when we're looking for market breadth data. Now, let's go switch back to those white background charts out here, and let's see if we can pull up. Well, I know we can. I just have to do it. So let's switch over to a different screen. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do this during the break. We're about to go to the break. And what we'll do when we come back is I see we've got a couple of requests out there. We'll probably just take a look at the quick 30 and 60-minute charts for the equity futures, see if there's any patterns there. In fact, I know there's patterns inside of the NQ that tell us we need to be paying attention to a certain data point. That'll tell us whether we should be long or short. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. Dow's up 120, S&P 23, NASDAQ 107, the Russell's up 16. We're taking a look at the 60-minute time frame charts here for the 4 equity future contract. In fact, this is the only chart that we really need to focus on today. It's the one that's giving the best signals out there. Now, when I say the best signals, if we take a look at the TD9 count pattern, you'll see that the tops today, this morning, each formed for all 4 of the hourly equity future contract, TD9 count tops. Now, in the case of the ES Mini, it had a TD9 count bottom. That formed out here at 11 o'clock in the morning back on February 24th. That led to a run up to its TD9 count breakdown area, 40, 15, 75. Now, folks, if you're not familiar with this pattern, get familiar with it. I teach it. I've got a workshop on it. You can subscribe to Mastering Probability. You do it for 29 days. It costs you nothing out there, and you'll get a great education. We've also got a small A to B equals C. It doesn't really matter. You got a TD9 count top, a breakdown resistance, and a new profile that is forming here with support at 4,000. Even out there, prices trading just below it. The next level of support for the ES Mini is going to be $39.92. If you see a close below $39.92, you can anticipate a move back to its breakout area, and that's at $39.75. In the case of the NQ, also forming a TD9 count top, also forming a new profile. The bottom is bullish structure profile for the 60-minute time frame. That low or that support area is at 12.098. We're 12.092. If price closes below on an hourly basis, that 12.098 area, we should see a run to 12.062. And below that, 12,008. Likewise, if price takes out this morning's high, the high that took place as we were coming into the 11 o'clock hour, 40.2475 for the ES, the NQ is going to be 12,189.50. Now, if either of those levels fail, meaning price closes above that, it's a signal to not be short. If we take a look at the Dow equity future contract, also running right in a TD9 count breakdown resistance at 33,153. That says, now, price right now is testing a key area of support, the bottom of its profile in red oscillator and change line. So if I we're focusing on these charts here, I'd be paying attention to the Dow to see if it's going to break that level of support. If it does, then then the other contracts should fall to a level of support. Well, we covered that area on the ES at 39.92, 12.062 inside of the NQ. If price fails at this level, the bottom of that profile is at 32.927. We should see a move to 32.798. And finally, we take a look at the Russell 2000, also a TD9 count top. Stronger than the others, at least at this stage here, well inside its daily profile. Support down at 18.99.70. A close below that, we would see 18.90.30. Likewise, if this trades above, closes above 19.19, then we should see a further move to the upside. So that's what's going on with regard to the 4 equity future contracts. Here's the chart. I was wondering where I placed this. I was doing some work this weekend, and I was taking a look at the foreigners' debt holdings of U.S. debt out there. And what I was able to get from the Fed system, the St. Louis Fed out there, was data that went back to 1970. Now, all they provided was quarterly data. So I sucked that into the system. And what I'm showing here is a yearly chart. And what we'll see here is that a TD9 count top formed last year in 2020. It's just 2021. In 2021, yeah, in 2021. The data that they have posted, this is the St. Louis Fed, only runs through I think it was like September. Yeah, it's quarterly through September 30th, June or September 30th of 2022. Not sure what they delays, but the point here is that it should be much lower, especially when you take a look at the spreadsheet data. This is again showing that foreigners are exiting, and it's primarily coming from Asia. From China, which you would expect. And of course, the reason to show this or point this out to you is if this continues here, it's just showing us that that those powers, at least China, at least, is getting rid of all of its U.S. debt out there. And they've got a ton, right? They still have $1 trillion or so out there. So it just says be very cautious for those of you that are playing the Treasury out there. If they're trying to liquidate, well, it does mean be looking to the short side out there. So that's what we've got going on here. We take a look at the equity futures. Why don't we go take a look at, then you've got the levels to be watching through the morning. Again, it's a 60-minute time frame chart. It's giving us the best signals out there. Let's take a look at a couple of requests that have come in so we don't get too far behind on those. In fact, let me just close down. Screw it. I'll do it during the breakout there. So let's take a look at our first request, which is coming in from Satish inside the Tiger's Den. Satish wants to know, with regard to ticker symbol LIN, whether to hold or sell. I believe those were the two options that you put in there. And you can see one heck of a nice wide-ranging bar on Friday. So this is trading out at 347.87. It's trading into resistance, Satish, and that's the high back here from December 13th. That high is 347.60. We're at 347.81. If you close above 347.60, you're above resistance. You could actually be setting up an A to B equals CD to the upside pattern out here. That would look like this. In other words, I'll draw in the A to B line, and then we'll just move the A to B to the C point out here, and the C point is going to be the low from, give me a moment here. It's going to be this low. Well, shoot. I got to slide this over a tad. But here is the 1-to-1 A to B equals CD or thereabouts. And that would give you a move up into, that gets you up, move into about the 363 area out there. So we don't see any kind of a topping pattern. However, price is testing a resistance level that if it crosses above would say you definitely want to hold. Now, volume back there in December was about 2 million shares. On Friday, as price was moving into that level, it was with 14 million shares. I say you got to stay. You got to stay. Now, go ahead and make sure you've got a stop out there. The average true range on this instrument, Satish, over the last 10 days has been $8.22 out there. On a weekly basis, this is closed above the top of its profile. Here, a resistance level, this may be a slightly different resistance level that you will run into, is up at the 352.18 level. And, man, if price closes above that, it definitely tells you to stay. Now, on a weekly basis, that swing had volume of 8 million shares last week. The total volume out there was 25 million. You're pushing into a swing point with volume. That says that it should at least test the high of that swing point. And again, on a weekly basis, that number that we gave you was up at the 352.18 area. So, Satish, I hope that helps you out. Looks like a nice trade, and I definitely would not sell. But you've got to do what you believe is the right thing to do. Next question coming in from Duffy inside the Tiger's Den. And the Duff Meister wanted to take a look at ticker symbol I take that back. It's Coop. Duffy will get to yours. The next one coming from ABCD inside the Tiger's Den, and that is Dan at COOP, which still has a nice TD9 count pattern out here, that high, formed back on February the 2nd. The resistance level there to always be watching is 48.37. You close above that, it's game on to the upside. Right now, Dan, what you have is just a consolidation with inside its daily profile for the most part. That's between 45.56. That was tested and rejected on Friday. Price right now running into resistance. Resistance, Dano, is at 47.03 or just about 47.02. If price can close above that, because it's a green oscillator and change line, odds would favor a move up to the $48 even Steven mark. You have a new profile that is formed this week here for Coop. On a weekly basis, that support level is at 43.28 and resistance is up at the 47.52 area. No topping pattern or anything that I have at this stage here on a weekly basis. Resistance on the monthly time frame, that green oscillator and change line. So resistance on the monthly, consolidating on the weekly, consolidating on the daily. Watch that 47.02 area. You close above that, you get back up to the top of the profile. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We get back from this break. Now we're going to go take a look at GSM for Duffy inside the Tiger's Den, Netflix for Jane, and CMC for Tim. Of course, I'd love to hear from you as well. 877-927-6648 or Steve at TFNN.com.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. So we're taking a look at the ticker symbol GSM. That is Faro Globe PLC. And this is for Duffy inside the Tiger's Den. Duff, I don't remember exactly what you were asking for. My apology. And there's been a big string since then. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the instrument. If that doesn't answer a question of yours, please let me know. So when we take a look at GSM, we see a completed sell the D point pattern. It did that when it generated this. I take that back. That's today's candle that I'm taking a look at. So if you were to get a bearish shooting star candle today, and that's what we have at the moment, don't know whether we will or not at day's end, that would then generate a sell the D point pattern. And that would suggest a move back to its green oscillator and change line, current about 467. So you got to wait to really see what today's candle is like. If it's not a bearish reversal candle with price along that C to D leg on the inside, would suggest that this would be an expansion, an expansion of the A to B point out there. But so you got to wait for days end. Now, on a 30-minute basis, I'll just switch to the 30-minute real quickly, see if there's any sign of a real top out here, and I don't. I just see a consolidation with inside that wide profile. Now, it's a new profile that is formed. So on a short-term basis here, Duff, 495 to 530 is your support and resistance area. On a weekly time frame, what GSM is showing us is that there's an A to B equals CD pattern as well. And if this were on a weekly basis to generate a bearish reversal candle, that too would then generate a sell the D point pattern and target the 446 area. On a monthly time frame, GSM needs to close above 551 at month's end. If it can do that, boy, then it's going to tell you that on a monthly basis, things are very strong as well, and that we should see more than that 1-to-1 A to B equals CD to the upside. So with regard to GSM, well, we don't have to stop there. Duff, during the break, I went ahead and went to our seasonal set of charts out here, supplied by the folks from Seasonex. And here is GSM. Now, we've got 13 years worth of data. And in a 13 years worth of data, this tells us that what GSM typically does is tops right around between now, specifically, which is be odd if we get that bearish shooting star candle, and maybe as late as sometime next week, right around March 5th, and then this starts to head lower. So this is the typical pattern over the last 13 years that this has had. That doesn't mean that will be this year's pattern, but it is enough to be paying attention to the possibility of a sell the D point pattern for GSM. So, Duff, I hope that provided you with all the information you were looking for. If not, write back to me, and I'll make sure that I get that to you. The next question coming in from Jane. And Jane wrote in by email. Let me actually pull up the question. It goes like this. Hey, Steve, could you please look at Netflix? I am long with options 330 expiring March the 3rd. So we take a look at Netflix out here on a daily time frame. What we've got is Netflix. So this morning, what happened on Thursday and Friday last week is price broke through and closed below the bottom of its profile. The bottom of that profile is 330.08. This morning's high so far in Netflix has been 330 even Steven, and it is still below that 330.08 level. So this is an A to B equals CD to the downside pattern. So I see that. So the question, so we know that price is also dealing with resistance. But what you also may have at day's end, just depends on what that candle is like, is you may have a confirmed buy the D point pattern. So there's your A to B. Now I've just thrown in the C to D. You've got a rising window or a gap to the upside. That is a bullish reversal candle. But what I don't know, Jane, is whether that candle holds into the end of the trading session. As long as price does not trade, just needs to trade to 321.50, then you would have that rising window, that gap, and that would suggest a move to the upside. But your battle right now as we speak is at that 330.08 level, and you need to see price close above that in order for this thing to move higher, 341.25, 346. Otherwise, well, if you don't get a bullish reversal candle today, then the A to B equals CD pattern to the downside should continue. Now, on a weekly basis, you had wave number 7 top out there. What price did last week was it pulled back and it tested. In fact, we closed slightly below its red oscillator and change line. That was suggesting to you and I, Jane, that price wanted to target 305.27. However, it slept on it over the weekend and said, I don't like being below a oscillator and change line. So it's back above it. It is green. So it's really sort of a neutral-ish type signal out there with a battle at 337 and then one up at 379.43. The monthly chart out here looks pretty good. Looks pretty good in that price is trading above profile as well as its red oscillator and change line. So bring it on home, Stevie. Well, if you take a look at Netflix and we look at consecutive days, the upside and the downside, Friday was day number 6 to the downside. We've seen one 7-move day, consecutive day to the downside. That was back in November. So move that's pretty significant move, taking a lot of energy to do that. And so not surprising that today should be an up day. So what you should see out here, Jane, is you should see at least a 2 to 3 day bounce out here inside of Netflix. And I would say that is likely the case, especially if it maintains that open gap to the upside out here that formed this morning. So I hope that helps you out with regard to Netflix. Best of luck to you in that trade. And thanks so much for writing in. We'll look forward to another question from you, hopefully soon. The next question coming in from Tim M. And if we take a look at his question, it is for CMC. So let's take a look at the charts here for CMC. CMC is what? Tim says, I'd like to take long position in commercial metals, CMC. What do you see on the daily and the weekly charts out there? So what we see here is this formed a TD9 count top, formed a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. It's the TD9 count. That's the one that we're going to pay attention to. That then led to a pullback and a test of breakout support, 51.23. That held. That was on Friday. That was with a bullish hammer candle. So what you do know about CMC is if price did close below Friday's low of 50.90, then you're going to see a move to 47.75. That didn't happen. Instead, right now, support is held. So where is this likely headed to? And you want to enter a long position. Well, it's trading below support. If you want to take a long position, not that I have a bottom, but sometimes pulling back to a breakout level of support is a bottom. So I just want to make sure that you know that. And if that's the case, then you can take that position now, knowing that you have a battle of 55.23, 56.22, and 57.20. And somewhere in between there's another battle as well. On a weekly basis, a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top out there. And that was formed last month with that bear sash candle. You just have, you have price back inside its profile area. Never a good scene, but of course it could reject that and say there was a false breakdown by closing above that on Friday. That being 52.72 out there. So it's below that. That suggests lower price with 50.65 being the target, but the monthly chart looks pretty good. So we've got a hodgepodge out here. So how are we going to figure out how to help Tim out with regard to this hodgepodge? It's a great question out there. And I'm just looking at a 30-minute time frame chart. Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. Price above profile. So this looks like it wants to move higher. So I'd say the 30-minute chart says CMC wants to move higher. What I don't have for you is a great entry point for taking a long position. And because you were focusing on the daily and the weekly, that's where my hesitation is. This could be just some type of intraday type trade, something along those lines. We can take a look at our CSNX charts out here. Let's do this before we go to break. Let's type in CMC, see if CMC even pops up here. All right, let's try that again. There we go, Commercial Metals Company. So let's populate this. Let's get this for all the years we've got, 35 years. And in the 35 years, this says that this should typically, over 35 years, it forms a top sometime next week in the early March time period, March 3rd to be exact. And that could be this week, right? Yeah, that'd be Friday of this week. And then it pulls back into the March 9th time period, then slides higher. So that's a seasonal chart there for CMC. I hope that helps you out. Thanks so much for writing in, Tim. Have a terrific day. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be back in just a few.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. Dow's up 70, S&P 17, NASDAQ 99, Russell's up 12. Let's go take a look at our next request. It's EQT. That's coming in from the Tiger's Den. That is from S&P. And S&P, when I take a look at EQT, you've got an A to B equals C to the upside. That was confirmed on Friday as its B point was passed with volume. It had about 14 million shares that took out that bearish shooting star at about 13 million shares. So more volume, A to B equals C to the upside. You're trading along the left side of that C to D leg. This suggests that it will do more than a 1-to-1 out there. However, you'd be on watch for a bearish reversal candle. You don't have that as we speak right now, so EQT should continue to move higher. However, what we can see on the weekly time frame chart is resistance is resistance is resistance, and that's that weekly oscillator and change line. That's currently printed at 34.80. So we understand why it has stopped where it has. You don't have got a bearish signal on the daily just yet, but that is a key resistance level that if crossed above, closed above, boy, that would be a nice positive outcome. On the monthly time frame, TD9 count top price testing support. That was the bottom of its monthly profile out there. No, I take that back. It's still trading above the top of its profile. I was looking at the doji candle from last month. So EQT looks like it wants to move higher. Not a surprise to see this thing move lower today. Why? If we just take a look at our consecutive bars higher and lower out there, we've had 3 consecutive bars to the upside. Recently, the most that we've gotten is 4 consecutive bars before we saw a bit of a pullback out here. Now that pullback should last for maybe 2 sessions out here today and or tomorrow out there, but I don't see anything really majorly wrong with regard to EQT. Just seems like it's doing what it should do normally. So I hope that helps you out. Thanks so much for the request. Let's go to our next question out here. This one coming in from Jambalaya. Wants to take a look at NVIDIA. Jambalaya, when I take a look at NVIDIA, the question is a time to chase. Boy, it's really tough to tell you to chase this at this stage here, but let's go take a look at the charts to see what they're communicating to you and I. On a daily time frame, you can see the A to B equals CD pattern that's in there. That needs a bearish reversal candle. If that then does form a bearish reversal candle, Jambalaya, you should be able to pick this up at lower price. Well, 231.18 would be the first stop, but below that, 223, 213, and then finally 206. Now, this did have a TD9 count top way back on the trading day of February 9th, and that took price back to support, which held, and now it's trading above it. So the daily time frame is bullish. You've got a Rhodes momentum indicator signal. You don't have a bearish reversal candle, but to tell you to take a trade right now in it, tough to do. But it's not bearish. and so may continue to move higher. Weekly time frame chart has the A to B equals CD pattern. It too would need a bearish reversal candle, but it could form a TD9 count top between this week and 2 weeks from now. Now, we haven't even taken out the high of last week out there, so not until that happens will we even get a potential trigger of bar number 8. On the monthly time frame, a nice TD9 count bottom, price above the top of its profile, green oscillator and change line. So what the monthly chart tells us, this longer term out here, Jambalaya, is that this wants to move to 289.46 out there. So it depends on your style of trading. But if you're asking me, does NVIDIA have a confirmed top on the daily, the weekly, or the monthly? The answer there is no. And all those charts suggest that price does want to move higher. But you get that daily bearish reversal candle, and that's going to suggest that it's time for some type of retracement. So I hope that helps you out. Thanks so much for your request. Do I see this as a double top? I do not see this as a double top out there. Yeah, you got a swing point from today, or you got today's session, testing the session from a couple days ago. By the way, that session from a couple days ago had some pretty good volume, 111 million shares. So far in about the first 2 hours of trading, 22. So you're going to be shorter on volume, but it really doesn't matter. Let's take a look at our next question, which is to take a look at Micron. MU is a ticker symbol, also from Jambalaya. Now, the question is, should he chase this one? Well, here you've got an A to B equals CD to the downside, but what we don't have is a bullish reversal candle. All you have is a consolidation with inside its profile. Support at 57.38, resistance at 60.67. On a monthly time frame, here you can see the good old-fashioned consolidation. At the bottom, you're in the 48 level, and at the top, you're in the 65 area, 64.50 or so. So consolidation going on there. Price also consolidating inside its weekly chart. If you're asking me where's the buy signal here, I would say if I use the weekly time frame between 54.79 and 55.93. Now, ideally, we'd see some kind of bottoming pattern on a daily time frame as price was getting back to that support area. On a monthly time frame, you've got a TD9 count bottom with resistance being 64.56. Your question was, should you chase it? On a 30-minute time frame, what Micron did a couple hours ago, did it actually at 10 o'clock this morning. Well, it was really not confirmed till 10:30, but it formed a TD9 count top at TD9 count breakdown resistance. You know that 59.44 level, Jambalaya, that is a real key level of resistance out there. Right now, you've got price trading above support of its oscillator and change line, but with inside its profile. So no clear message here. If you want to take a stab at Micron, well, 57.41 might be a price target to do that, knowing that you've got a battle at 59.44. So bring it on home, Stevie. I'd be patient and I would wait with regard to Micron as well as NVIDIA out there. So I do hope that that helps. If you need some additional information, please feel free to write back, and I will do my best to assist you with that. We've got another request. This one is coming from inside the Tiger's Den as well. It was Dano who wants to take a look at Mosaic. MOS is the ticker symbol there. And as we take a look at this, you're looking for a long position. So you're actually getting a potential A to B equals CD to the upside today. That swing point, which was from February 10th, did volume of 3.4 million shares. Today, so far, you are at 1.7 million shares. So it seems like Mosaic will have the volume. Now, it's a gigantic A to B equals CD pattern to the upside. Do I even dare write that in there? Sure. Well, we'll at least move the A to B point to the C level out there. So there's your A to B, your C point out here. From Mosaic. Of course, this would say if this is going to come to a fruition, we should be expecting much higher food prices out here. But this would suggest to move up to about the $60 area. Price above the TD9 count breakdown resistance level at 51.83, so that's a bullish signal for Mosaic. Now, on a weekly basis, you're trading into resistance. Top of its profile, 52.96. You're at 52.90 right now. A close above that at week's end will be a very positive message. Now, however, it will also be a message of bar number 8 forming. So the thing is that the bar number 9, we really won't know. It's too far off. That's not till next week. And bar number 9, though, next week, in order for it to potentially generate a TD9 count top, price will need to close above 51.30. That's next week. The monthly chart running into resistance, it's green oscillator and change line out there. If I look at a daily time frame chart, which we're going to do right now, take a look at consecutive days to the upside and downside. You're going to be in day number 4 here, We haven't seen many exceed day number 4. In fact, we have not seen day number 4 exceeded, take us back into August of 2022. So here's what odds favor inside of Mosaic. You should get a pullback that lasts for 1 to maybe 2 sessions out there, and that's probably the best that I've got. Ideally, if that happens and you get some type of bottoming signal on a short-term time frame chart, then your thinking of long should be executed out there. And so I do hope that helps you out. Dano, thank you very much for the request. I see another request in here from Guppy who wants to take a look at skills, SKLZ. So let's get that fired up on our screen, actually see what it is out here. We're going to a break, so I can't get it in before the break, but I most certainly can after the break. So we'll certainly finish off the show looking at Skills Inc. trading out at 63 cents right now. Looks like it wants lower price, and 47 pennies may be the target. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. So we're taking a look at the stock charts here for skills. McGuppy is targeting the 60-cent area out there. You know, and McGuppy, when we take a look at the daily time frame charts, we're trading below red oscillator and change line. That's always bearish. We're trading below profile levels out here. And you're only in bar number 6. And no you've got an A to B equals CD to the downside. And so you're asking, you want to be able to add more to that position. What I would do is I would wait for the A to B equals CD pattern to complete. So the 1-to-1 price target area gets you down to about the 57 cent area. I'm not saying that's the place to buy because we can easily make the case that price is going to target 47 cents. It's breakout area. When I look at a weekly chart out here, 51 to 57 cents is really your place to add to your position, and the monthly is just not providing us with a ton of information. So I'd sit tight on skills out there, and I'd wait for the A to B equals CD pattern to complete, or maybe a TD9 count bottom to complete out there. But I think 60 cents, not that that might not be right, I just don't see it, and look in the daily, weekly, and monthly charts out there. I hope that helps you out. Our last request is to take a look at ticker symbol CLF. CLF is Cliffs Natural Resources, or Cleveland Cliffs, I should say. And right now, what Cleveland Cliffs is doing, S&P had a request here. S&P, you've got a consolidation with inside the daily profile. That's between 1974 and 2099, with price this morning finding resistance at the green oscillator and change line of 2079. So basically, a good old-fashioned consolidation there. On a weekly time frame, what we don't have here, we just have a consolidating pattern here as well. Bear structured weekly profile, 2171 at the resistance level, 1838 at support. And on a monthly time frame, price is dealing with resistance. It did close above it last month. We're trying to find out if that was a one-hit wonder or if it's going to close above it this month. To close above it this month, what we would need to see, that would be at, yes, tomorrow's close, right? Tomorrow's close, you would need to see a close above 2071 or 2060 right now. So with regard to Cleveland Cliffs out here, it's just a good old-fashioned consolidation. I wish I could provide you with more on that, but I can't. It is what it is. Folks, thanks so much for joining me here on Magnificent Monday. Please stay tuned. We've got great programming lined up, and I'll see you again on Terrific Tuesday. Take care. Be safe out there.